Welcome here live for the ACOG iRacing Street Stock Tour. Round number 5 out of 6 brings us to Southern National Motorsports Park, as 5 drivers will do 35 laps around this small, tiny oval. Luckily, with not many drivers here, I expect a fairly clean race. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and drive right into it and see on how this race will turn to be. Currently qualifying up and away. All these drivers have logged in their laps, so we could just go ahead and push in to advance it, but not much to be said, because this season has gone, without a doubt, very quiet, which I personally like. I like quiet seasons. Quiet seasons are always the pinnacle and lore-bounding, if you like to say that, for paving the way for future events and things to talk about. So, ACOG iRacing Street Stock Season 3. It's our 3rd season here in Kenley, USA. I think it's in North Carolina. Not very sure. I'm not 100% on this, but again, small oval, but with only 5 drivers here tonight, I expect a fairly clean race from start to finish. So nothing too overly drastic to really talk about, besides the fact that we'll get to our pole sitters and everybody else as we get set here for tonight. But got a couple of rookies also in the field making their first ever start. Corey Crandall and Zachary Moses in the 48 and number 5. So it should be fun to see them log in some laps here on the racetrack for the first ever time in the ACOG circuit. With that being said, we'll just go ahead and pull this banner out. But at the moment, I think it's not Cole Woody. It's either Cole Woody or somebody else who currently leads points in this one. So we'll pull that up right now to see on where everybody stands. But yeah, Cole Woody actually leads the point standings over Eduardo Munoz Jr., who is not here, unfortunately, for tonight. Contrafari also not present. Tommy Reynolds, Nicholas Budlemick, Hunter Johnson, Miles Nelson, James Gearhold round the rest out of the order. So nobody, it's a 1-point lead for Cole Woody. So he needs to log in and maximize his points, and he's doing just that, because that number 17 of Cole Woody is going to be starting on the pole here for tonight. Corey Grindle in the number 5 right alongside him. Zachary Moses making his first start. We just talked about him. Corey Crandall, of course, P2. He too making his first ever start. Jared Murphy right alongside in that number 83. Austin Runkle, now an ACOG regular in that number 18 here in tonight's field. And then we'll go ahead and roll ourselves out as we get set for this green flag. That number 17, Cole Woody. Here under the daylight. Usually this race gets ran under night, but not for tonight. Cole Woody in that number 17 will be leading this field to the green with one more pace lap left. Just 35 laps of racing around this small quarter-mile oval. Not much to be said. Pit road and stages are not going to be used. Of course, fuel as well, not going to be used too much. But just a 35-minute race. So this race, if it were to go green flag from start to finish, this race should take just 10 minutes or under 10 minutes to get done, as the green flag drops. Cole Woody in the 17 will lead us to the go as we work ourselves into turn number 1. A bit of blinking there right behind. That's the 48, Zach Moses, currently in the podium position, as the 5 of Corey Crandall also in the mix of that as well. Both of those drivers unfortunately blinking. They got to get their connections situated outright, but at the moment, number 17 Cole Woody doing a nice job of maintaining that top spot. He won the pole and is the fastest, and it is proving so right now. And why that 17 deserves to be up in the front. Moses snags the wall just a slight bit. Not a lot of damage on that machine. Of course, that's just a small 0x, but hopefully he can keep that 48 off the wall. Corey Crandall, though, that number 5 is slowly starting to creep up to the 17 of Woody. So I am expecting a long green flag run-in. So for Woody in this number 17, he has to save a bit of tire. And hopefully he could keep himself running on pace for the rest of the evening. Jared Murphy and Austin Runkle, both team cars, sitting 4th and 5th at the moment. Runkle currently kind of off pace, now 4.3 seconds behind. So this is not his track for sure, but we'll see what that number 18 of Runkle does. If we do catch a caution by the end of this thing. A battle for third is heating up between these two drivers, Zach Moses and Jared Murphy. Murphy getting a bit of ground on this number 48, so Moses starting to slip up a slight bit. The gap between himself and second place is obviously very big. Moses, oh, snags the apron just a slight bit, and we're going to have a bit of battling here on the racetrack. First pass here on the racetrack as 8 out of 35. It's the 83 to the highest side of this 48. Moses holds his ground there on the bottom side, and the 83 of Murphy trying to cross him over. Can't really get a bite on through off of turn 4. But Moses drives it in. That car washes up, opens up the door for that 83. Can't get a bite still. So Moses is going to be able to retain this top ground in P3. But that 83 of Murphy is a-coming. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that 83 right by this 48 here in just a moment. But as I said, Moses, his first ever ACOG start in this 48 machine, doing a nice job. And speaking of people who were on their first ever start, let's go ahead and zoom up to Corey Crandall in this number 5 machine. Currently sits in second at the moment. Hasn't led a lap, but comes from the Midwest. I know that has no correlation, but that number 5, Corey Crandall, his first ACOG start here tonight, as well as Moses in the 48, who comes from, I think that is Colorado. So yeah, he comes from the Grand Canyon region on the west. So Moses coming in from Colorado, holding strong here over that 83 of Murphy. And Austin Runkle currently not a factor in this one. We haven't talked about our leader, though, of Cole Woody, who's now pulled himself by 2 seconds over the rest of the field. Still doing a nice job. All he has to do, you know, he has 5 more laps to go. I mean, not 5 more laps. He has just about 20 more laps to go ahead and secure this W. And everybody doing a nice job of maintaining ground at the moment. So Woody bound to catch a bit of lap traffic. I think that's going to be Runkle, the first one he's going to come up upon. So right now, all eyes on this battle for third as Zach Moses. You see all those tire tracks entering the corner. Seems as though a lot of people having trouble braking. You see, I mean, all these cars are very, very, very much loose through the corner. And you see right there, Moses just dead sideways. That car just does not want to stay still. That's old tires just kicking in for that 48, and he can't get a good bite through the corner, and that car is just losing so much time. Nearly hits the wall off. So Murphy's going to have another shot here within these next 18 laps to catch this 48 of Moses. And we're going to come up on our first lap car, and probably the only lap car of the race is going to be the 18 of Runkle, Cole Woody. And that 17 is just going to work himself by. Runkle gives him the yield. And unfortunately for that 18, he's going to have to catch a caution to put himself on the lead lap. 15 laps to go this time by, so Runkle goes 1 lap down. It's going to be Murphy next in line to go 1 lap down. His teammate in that 83, who's all the way off of turn number 4. And oh, Murphy might have snagged the wall there just a slight bit, so unfortunately starting to very much lose ground to to Moses, who's now pulled himself just about by, I'd say, 2 seconds. Or maybe a bit more over that number 83 of Murphy. So it's either Moses got faster and Murphy slipped up between these last 5 laps, and that gap grows yet again. But Crandall in this number 5, I mean, Moses is coming in that number 48. So Moses now has decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and check up a slight bit more. Get that car cornered on in, but he's still slipping up big time. That car is just dead sideways, and this leaving tire tracks and such around this racetrack as Crandall in that 5 laps around the 18 of Austin Runkle. Puts him now one. I mean, of course, not the leader, so Crandall safely by the 18 of Runkle, who's currently a lap car, but Woody, in the meantime of that, 6 seconds over Crandall, who's come here 10 laps to go, this time by the 18 of Runkle. Oh, into the wall. You see a bit of right side damage there by the 48 of Zach Moses, so it seems as though that 48 did scrape the wall, but luckily maintained his 3rd spot. So for all the people wherever they've qualified is probably going to be the way they're going to finish. So their starting spots are going to be finishing spots. So we've not necessarily had a green flag pass on the racetrack. We've definitely had some battles, especially between Moses and Murphy, but unfortunately, no action in terms of on-track passing. But a lot of points and info to be given out, especially with the 17 of Woody, who's bound to take over this points lead heading into next week. So with Woody winning, if he does win here tonight, that number 17 of Woody, this will be his 2nd win of the season. He won at USA over Hunter Johnson and multiple other drivers, but Woody doing a fine job of maintaining ground, and he's going to come up on Runkle yet again, put him now 2 laps down in that number 18. But Woody, no surprise, an ACOG contender week in, week out. And he's done a fine job of maintaining ground, and he'll lead all 35 laps on to his 2nd win of the season, as long as he keeps it straight and there's no cautions. But we head into Thompson for night racing for that 6th race of the season. So Thompson Motorsports Park, of course, another 7th, 8th mile of a racetrack. So I wouldn't necessarily say a short track like the Southern National Motorsports Park, but a bit bigger and a bit different than what is typically ran throughout the whole entire iRacing service. Cole Woody works himself off the turn number 4. White flag this time by as he attempts to put the 83 1 lap down. 83 will yield as Jared Murphy, who will get put now -1, but into turns 3 and 4. Cole Woody, probably not sober, knowing him. He'll cross the start-finish line in 1st spot. 2nd win of the season for him in dominant fashion. 2nd place to Corey Crandall. And that number 5, a good debut for that 5 of Crandall. And Moses is going to round himself out P3. So 2 out of 3 drivers inside of this top 3, all rookies and making their first start. So a good showing for Corey Crandall as well as Zach Moses. But all eyes on this number 17 of Cole Woody, who wins here at Southern National. Congratulations to him. And we're going to scoot ourselves to the side and go ahead and take an interview with him and see what he has to say. Back here live at the Southern National Motorsports Park. We'll just go over our order. And here after 35 laps, excuse me, 35 laps of racing at Southern National Motorsports Park. Cole Woody, Corey Crandall, Zachary Moses, Jared Murphy, and Austin Runkle round out the rest of the order. And until next time, thank you all for watching. And we will go ahead and see you next week at Thompson.